You know, I gotta talk about this. I was watching an old TV special that was shot in Britain for the BBC that featured one of my all-time favorite entertainers. Truthfully, he may be very well one of my all-time. He may be very well my all-time entertainer of all time because he was one of the first entertainers I started looking up to when I was very, very young. I'm talking about like when I was 3 years old, before I even knew Michael Jackson. I knew this guy. Let me talk about it. This is DJ Wolf Live. All right, guys. Let me go ahead and talk about it. There was this guy who actually had a lot in common with Michael Jackson. He started out very young. He started out as an entertainer, probably before the age of 10, singing and dancing. Probably roughly about a few decades before Michael Jackson. And he was a young kid. Matter of fact, he did his first film when he was like about 8 years old. Roughly. 7 or 8 years old. Maybe a little younger than that. And he was a big deal for about a minute. Then he later on joined the military, came out, continued performing with his family. And then by the 1950s became a solo artist. That man is none other than the legendary, late great Sammy Davis Jr. This guy I admired so much when I was a kid. In my eyes, he couldn't do nothing wrong. This guy was an actor, singer, dancer, songwriter, musician, and comedian. He was a very funny guy. I mean, he did it all. To me, Sammy Davis Jr. was the ultimate entertainer. As far as I'm concerned, he was like an entertainer's entertainer. He really was. He was the guy that did all of it. Anything to do with entertainment, that was Sammy Davis Jr. I'm here to tell you. I sat there and watched him. He even did impressions. The guy, you know, he knew entertainment. They said that, and what I was reading, that he started out in vaudeville, from what I heard, which I didn't know. I know his father and uncles and stuff were involved with that. And then that's how he got put on a little later. But nevertheless, I admire him so much. One of the reasons why I think I admire him so much, because he had a very can-do attitude. I read both of his books cover to cover. One of the books my mother had, and she was also a fan of his too, called Yes I Can. And I don't remember the second book. I think it was about Why Me. That was a book that came out just a couple years before he passed away. And I read both books. And I really very much admired this man. I really did. I mean, this was a guy who did everything. I mean, he had to raise his hand, deal him a number of times, and he kept on swinging. You know, one of the things that Sammy Davis Jr. said in his last public appearance before he passed away was that, well, actually, no, I take that back. No, he said this years before that. But he said, if they don't talk, and I'm kind of paraphrasing a little bit, if they ain't talking about you, they ain't thinking about you. Which is kind of true. You know, people say what they want about Sammy Davis Jr., but the fact is that he was on their mind. There were black people that didn't like Sammy Davis Jr. They thought he was a coon. They thought he was Uncle Tom. Let me tell you something. Sammy Davis Jr. was an entertainer. Okay? He entertained for the masses. The guy was as big of a name internationally as he was nationally. Okay? They lauded him overseas. They loved him overseas, man. He did a couple of BBC specials. One of them I just got finished watching. He was Oh my God, the guy was incredible. I'm not just telling you about because of something I just learned. This is something I always knew. I said they watched him when I was a kid on television and in films. And I'll be honest, this is me. I always said that Sammy Davis Jr. really didn't get the proper respect that he should have got as an entertainer in the black community. He was that of a big deal. I mean, he was extremely talented. The only person I could say that kind of reminded me of him a little bit is Wayne Brady. Wayne Brady, like Sammy Davis Jr., got thrown on the bus by the people too. And let's be real about it. He did. No doubt about that. And you don't see those kind of entertainers like that anymore, man. You know? But those kind of entertainers don't get the same props as white people do. The white counterparts do, doing the same thing. You know? But Sammy Davis Jr. was a consummate entertainer. This guy, this is what he did. He didn't do it based on trying to emulate somebody. This is what he did because that's who he was. He was born to do it. You can see it. He loved the audience, and the audience was loving him back tremendously. And to me, what I got out of him in his life was the fact that he showed you can do anything you want to do if you set your mind to it. And from the time I was 3 years old, when I watched him on television, I don't even remember what the show was, but I watched him on television, and I was amazed at what he was doing. It just blew me away. It blew me away to this day. I still watch it, and I still get a little emotional by it because I'm like, wow, this is a brother who did his thing and love what he did. And I watch stuff like that. It still inspires me to do what I'm doing on a daily basis. You know? Which is probably one of the reasons. She must have did that. It's probably one of the reasons why I still do what I'm doing. You know, as an artist. But nevertheless, I'm amazed by it. And it's one of the reasons I'm going to keep pushing to do what I'm going to do for myself in terms of stuff like animation, my podcast, my music. It's what I enjoy doing. I've been told, you know, I have a little bit of a singing voice myself. Actually, I got rehearsal tomorrow, matter of fact. I'm going to keep on doing that myself. But if you want somebody to really admire, as far as I'm concerned, a guy who they told couldn't do it, he was told that. But he did. And he kept on doing it anyway. That's who I looked up to. I ain't gonna lie. Sammy D, you're loved, man. You're a man I admired for a very long time, and I still continue to admire. Yeah. Rest in heaven, brother. Continue. This is DJ Wolf, and I'm out.